Hello and welcome to the Sketching Greyhound. I am sketching a greyhound again. I already did it last time, but this time I will be sketching my own greyhound. The first, as I said, I want to draw all my 4 pets. So we will do that and we'll start with Jesse. He's also the logo of this channel if you didn't know. And I was really looking forward to do this and I tried actually 2 times. So my very first try was this picture of Jesse, bigger. I will show you a little bit later how that one turned out. And you can tell me if you liked the original, the first one better. Could very well be. It's not a terrible image, it just is not like I really wanted it to turn out. So I tried it again. I'm much more happy with this one and I will tell you why. So this is the picture that I wanted to draw, and while it is freaking cute, if I can say so myself, it is not the most flattering picture, but that is also kind of the point with this series. I love this very bold style and I want to use it also on quite bold and special pictures. Not only of animals, I'm also thinking about doing this to humans, meaning also some people that I already drew, for example, YouTubers or also from a movie or any kind of star, but not the nicest pictures. You know, not evil ones, but you know, when you pause a screen, pause a video, and the people you're watching is just making a really strange face. I think those are the kind of faces that I want to try this style on, and also on humans, so look out for that. I explained a little bit in the last video how my approach to this is and how I decided to paint the picture the way I did it. I want to develop a style here. So if you want to develop a style, that can happen automatically, but if you're trying to get into a specific direction, it really helps to give yourself some guidelines that help you over different pictures to really do things on a conscious level, to really have some decisions in there and then analyze if it worked or if it did not work, so you know what to change. In this case, for example, one of the big rules is a couple of things I will keep as they are in the original. You know, I'm using quite crazy colors here, not the realistic colors, so it might in the end become difficult for somebody who sees the image to really understand what I was going for, what I was even showing. So if I would just go crazy with the colors and totally ignore the original colors and brightness of certain areas in the picture, if you would look at it, you would not really recognize anymore at all what I would be drawing. So there have to be a couple of ground rules. And here they are, for example, that the eyes stay the way they are. They are also, again, like in my Thai picture, they are brown. Jesse's eyes are brown, so I am drawing them actually also brown. And all the highlights, all the lightest parts of the pictures, they are white. I have a couple of lines here in white around the nose and at the mouth where they are just there to really limit the picture and give you a better understanding of the shape. It would not be that easy to really recognize a face and recognize the nose as a big thing, literally in this case, or the mouth and all that stuff. And that all of that is in the foreground in comparison to the ears and the back of the head where I did not use white lines. So I used them as a guideline for your eyes and for your mind to really make sense of the picture, so that in the end it's not just a cloud of color, but I hope it worked. It is a real greyhound face that you can recognize, even though the colors are crazy. But also the colors are following a pattern. So you see there are black spaces on the paper and there will stay some black spaces on the paper that are the darkest places. The white symbolizes the lightest, and then we go from color to color, from brightness level to darkness, although with a little twist here and there. So we go through the different color kinds, meaning from white to yellow through the reds, and then we change to the blue, so the light blue and the dark blue. You could argue that the light blue is lighter than the red, but in the decision, in the in the mapping that I did in my head, the light blue is actually considered to be darker than the red. That could have destroyed it a little bit, and I might try it differently, so really grouping them just purely by at least my perception of from light to dark. and see if that works better. It will definitely be more confusing to the eye, I think. That's why I did it this way. Because if you change from the yellow to the orange to the light blue to the red to the dark blue, I think those transitions would be very harsh for the eye, and I think it would not help, but I'll probably try that at some point. So what is the lesson here if you want to design your own style? I think one of those is that you should not be afraid. Just go for it. You see, this is a bit different, I would say. I just tried it out. I was a little bit nervous. I didn't want to waste my super cool new pastel pencils, but I just went for it. And the first experiment, we will look into that in a second, did not pan out too well. But the second already was quite nice, and I liked it. Yeah, I really liked it. I would advise for you to really, if you go overboard in a certain direction and are not trying to just recreate something realistic, to have rules for yourself. It gets more and more important the further you go away from reality. But if you're not just drawing completely expressionistic or something and you don't care about if people recognize what you're drawing or what you're painting, design some rules for yourself. If you follow those rules, people will notice. They will not consciously understand your rules from just looking at your art, but it will help them to recognize you, recognize your work, see that and understand on an emotional level that your art has something coherent in it. From my perspective, that is a good thing. So that is something you could take away from this. And also don't be afraid to evolve your style. Do not box yourself in and try again and again with different mediums, with the same medium, different styles. Just experiment and be free in your art. And now we're far along in the picture that we can take a look at my first try. This is it, and you see from the color scheme it is quite similar already, and I had already decided on using the realistic color in the eye and doing those things with the white lines. In that regard, I actually used my first try as a starting point. What you can see is, or what you probably do not see at the first glance, is that my first try was a lot bigger. And I think the style that I went with, those little lines, which also signify a little bit of fur, I would probably also use that in the future on smoother surfaces, not just for fur, but still it works, I think, a lot better with a little bit of a smaller form factor. So even the size of your picture that you're drawing can have a big impact on your style and if it works or not. And those final lines obviously is one of the big differences. I was a bit too careful with my first try, and it would probably already be much more interesting if I would just put more color on the paper, meaning a thicker layer. This way it looks very much like a sketch or something, you know, something you have quickly drawn, not put too much effort into. I think those minus points, at least in my perception, I have erased for the second picture, but let me know what you think down in the comments. And then let's talk about the catastrophe. At least in my eyes, I was so devastated when I noticed, and you probably have seen it by now, that I have smudged the picture almost into a point where I could have just thrown it away. I worked on it, I tried to rescue it, and for the most part it kinda worked, but there is a lesson to be learned here. So I was really devastated when it got smudged, and it was very dumb on my part too. I don't know why. With the first one I also started on the bottom of the picture and moved up. I don't know why I do that. The danger of smudging it is just so big. I need to change that. It will be difficult for me, I think. For some reason I'm working differently here than in the other portraits. I would normally draw the eyes first and then move to the rest. I don't do it like that here. I have no idea why. But I have to change my approach, be more careful. It's not perfect now because of the smudging, but it got better in the end. Then I feared that I could repair it, so kind of a win. I still like it. I don't feel like I have to redo it again. I think it's good the way it is, and I can move on to the next pet. I hope you will be there for that. Thank you so much for watching this video, making it until the end. Very impressive. Not everyone does. If you enjoyed it, give me that thumbs up and that subscription. Perhaps. perhaps even ring that bell. But that's all for this video. Have the greatest of days and goodbye.